up, everybody? Welcome back to Bare Fruits, where we unveil all truth. And today we have my good brother, okay, with me from Rebels in the Garden,
Yes,
aka
ma'am.
Rebels Marketplace. All right, James Grevious. How are
Nice.
you,
I'm
sir?
good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Funny story, okay? We're gonna just hop right into it. If anybody knows me, then you know that I was married previously, and my ex-husband's last name was Grevious. And so when I met James, I was with my friend Rebecca at his marketplace, and I was like, "Give me his information so I can follow him on IG or whatever." And I saw that last name Grevious. I was like, what in the world? I was like doing math in my head. I was like, ain't no way he got family all the way, all the
Yeah.
way in Denver. And so I asked him. I was like, you got family, you got family back in Ohio and everything. Like he's
Nah.
like, nah. I was like, I ain't never met a Grevious. So now he is the only person, okay? I mean, the only person that can call me Mrs. Grevious. But I appreciate you coming on and being here
Nah.
today.
No. Yeah. Thank you for the invite, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. But let's get into it. You're a father, you're an entrepreneur,
hmm
and I really wanted to get your perspective on both. And wherever you want to start, where
I guess there's a lot of hats and a lot of coats I wear. I guess you know what I'm saying. But I think right now I've transitioned into calling myself an entrepreneur,
mm-hmm.
small business owner, or whatever you want to call that, right? But my origin started, like you said, I'm a Grevious. We'll go back to that real quick. But now it's just a unique name for one. But most of my family originated on the East Coast, like we talked
Mm-hmm.
about before. So my family, my mom and my dad were born. My dad was born in the Bronx. My mom was born in Queens, New York, and they got together and they shipped out to Colorado back in the 80s, right? So that's kind of, I've been born and raised here in Colorado, first generation Colorado Grevious,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, my adult years, I spent 17 years in the military. So I was a mechanic by trade. And when I got out of the service, that's when we started Rebels in the Garden, all that jazz, and started the entrepreneur journey. So yeah, so I have three kids. Yeah, so I'm a dad, entrepreneur, all those things. So that's kind of the journey I'm on, is trying to transition from service for the country, if you will,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
into service, into that little micro community that I'm trying to build. So we
Right,
use entrepreneurship to do that.
right. And you focus mainly in the Aurora area.
Yes, right
Why
now.
is that?
I think it comes from a principle from when I was working on planes, right? It's such a
Mm-hmm.
complex machine, right? And so when you're working on something, you kind of hyper focus on, say, like one component at a
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that, yeah, Aurora's got 40,000 people
Mm-hmm.
in it, right? So I have a small farm, a farmer's market, all that stuff. So those 40,000 people, it's plenty,
Yeah.
right? Why spread yourself all through the state for all that when I can still serve 40,000 people
Mm-hmm.
potentially right where I live? So that's kind of where the focus was area, because when you get too big, you get, stretched out and you lose
Right.
focus and things
Right.
like that. So that's why we're trying to stay in Aurora.
So what got you into agriculture anyway? I mean, because from military to agriculture, that to me is a big jump. So.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's we came back. I was on a deployment from Korea, so I was in Kunsan, Korea, and it was weird. That whole trip just messed me up. I was only
Mm-hmm.
there for 4 months, give or take, but we weren't at war, nothing like that. But every time you turned around, it was just talk of war,
Yeah.
war all the
Yeah.
time, right? We were running exercises and three different exercises for week longs, doing like warfare games, things like that. And I was really depressed coming back from
Mm.
Korea. Just you're locked down.
Right.
It was strange, very
Yeah.
strange place for young men to be, which we can talk
Mm-hmm.
about later.
Mm-hmm.
But so we came back, and you get some downtime after your deployment there, and I was just like, what can I do with these boys that are here? I got time, and they were young enough where we couldn't do like change tires and
Yeah.
oil
Yeah. Yeah.
changes, and let
Yeah.
me show
Yeah.
you how to
Yeah.
do this stuff. So I was like, we do a garden in the backyard and kind of just show them some stuff. So we just did a little garden club, called ourselves Rebels in the Garden, all of that jazz. And then that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where it just kicked off from there. Yeah.
Explain a little bit more about like some of the challenges that you've been facing, within the rebel market.
There's this challenges. Like, I'm a very small farmer, right? Just running the backyard and things like that. And you have to be in tune with, the weather cycles and climate and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it's not my livelihood. I'm not dependent on growing that food. It's just, it's supplements, right? Last week, right? So, hailstorm came out, took
Yeah.
out 3/4 of my farm, right? And that's devastating, not so much in monetary terms, but it's just like anything as an entrepreneur, you
Right.
build something, that'd be equivalent of, somebody's getting their tools jacked, right? I'm trying to build a business as an HVAC or something. Somebody breaks into my van,
Right.
jacks my tools.
Right.
Now I got to put money out of my business to go get new tools that you just set me back 2 months
Yeah.
of earning potential XYZ. So farming, when that happens, right, when you get your stuff taken out by weather or whatever else, that sets you back on time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that
Definitely.
labor it's hard work. Even
Yeah.
gardening, right? It's a hard work. So when that stuff gets wiped out, you're like, my labor's gone, my time is gone, and I lost some money.
Right. How has the interaction with the community been? Because I mean, I have done the work to do the research to kind of get more knowledgeable about Black-owned farmers and everything like that. But typically, we don't grow up learning these things.
Yeah.
And so you'll be like, "Dang, a farmer! Like, I
Right.
didn't know we could do.
Right,
I didn't
right.
know we could do those type of things." So, how has the community responded to the market?
The communities, it's still growing, right? So of course we want Rebel Marketplace to like blow up and have a
Yeah.
bunch of people, but it's not there yet, right? We're getting there. But the people that do come really appreciate it. And we really have some really diehard fans that come through. And I posted something the other day about, going back to the why, right? And so when you see, I started off delivering to 5 people, you know what I'm saying? I remember those 5 people. I remember that day. And just very thankful for those 5 people that I started out with because they were able to launch Rebel Marketplace. Because you're like, yo, okay, I could do this. 5 people like it, right?
Yeah.
So 5 more must like it. But the relationship with the community has been really great. It's been really rewarding. It's something that you can lean back on and be like, all right, this is why I'm doing it. When people come on, be like, thank you for doing this. I've been here for 4 years. And so that kind of feeds you. But again, we do get lost in the metrics of a lot of things. People count, all this stuff. Are we competing with X, Y, and Z? But those things do matter because you still have to stay alive.
Yeah.
But really the root, the foundation of the folks that really support and really are down with what you're doing.
When I went to the opening market this year, I was like, look at Jay. I was like, he really doing it this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it has grown. A lot more vendors.
Yeah.
I'll be a part of it. And I'm just like, I'm excited.
Yeah. No, but it's great too, but it's you put yourself out there also, right? So when you grow, you put yourself out there to further fall also, right? So as we grow, we move locations, which is great because that old location, every morning there was parked cars there, people sleeping in the park. So it's hard to operate a business when you're uncertain. So we move locations, we're able to expand. But with that expansion, you lose a little bit of intimacy, right? And so so far we just have to re-gel because we added some more folks. Just to make sure that they fit with the mission, what we're really trying to do.
Definitely.
So that's the growing pains that we're in right now. I wouldn't say growing pains. It's just the learning opportunities that I'm in right now. So, yeah.
I've been through my struggles with my business, but again, knowing your why and why you're doing it, and when you still have people supporting you, it's just, even if it's one person, it's just like that extra push that you need to keep going. So we're gonna shift a little bit and get a little personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, you're a father. So how has it been raising your kids in this culture and day and age now?
Oh man, it's been super interesting. It's like it's like going from a militant mindset in a way to softening to understand the social changes that are going on at the same time. So it's challenges me mentally to kind of stretch a little bit and be like, all right, let me see what's going on here, while at the same time still being rooted in your principles, the things that you know to be true.
Right.
And that's why farming, in my opinion, is so important because it gives you a baseline of what's true.
Yeah.
I put seed in the ground, I water it, I should get a return. No seed go in there, I don't get no return. I don't work, I get weeds, all these different things, right? So, if I...
That's Fruits for Life coaching in a nutshell, okay?
I didn't even know that. But the whole idea is the same thing. These are baseline principles. And so going and raising my boys, it allows me to say, okay, well, these things will remain true. So, guys, when you're maneuvering out here, this is kind of how you move. But it takes me to make sure that I'm not making my boys toxic in a way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not so much toxic masculinity, but with my wisdom that I'm giving, and make sure that my wisdom is not hurting them in the long run, or going to be able to hurt somebody else. So I need to make sure that what I'm telling them all the time is what I believe to be true,
Yeah.
and how I would want to show up for somebody else's daughter, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Is it different raising your boys from your girl?
Yes.
It's-
Yes. Yes. Yeah. My daughter, man, that's my homie, right? So she's the spirit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So even in the garden and stuff, she don't really be out there with me that whole lot. But when she was younger, and like we talked about, we went through the divorce and stuff. My daughter healed me, man. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just right there with me. Just I needed that. So she's my homie and all that, but it's very, very different. Like my boys, it's like, yo, I bully the hell out of them. You know what I'm saying? I bully the hell out of them boys. I see them in the hallway, give them a check.
Yeah.
I make them get past me.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Make them get, you got to test out your strength a little bit.
Yeah.
But my daughter, I'm like, hey, baby girl, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need something today.
Like, Daddy, I need this. Okay.
But yeah,
Boys
but
come to you, be like, I need it. No.
Yeah, nah. But I'm still very stern with my daughter. I just can't. I can't yell at her because she'll break down, right? So it just allows me to soften up a little bit and understand, okay, she's different, but I still need to impart the same principles. She still needs to be strong.
Yeah.
She still needs to be smart.
Definitely.
She can't, be a victim, all of those things. So she still get the daddy game for sure.
Yeah. Same with my dad. He did the same with us. He had all girls, so he literally told us, like, I raise y'all like boys, because he was like, whatever I can do, y'all can do. And if your man can't do it, then he ain't the man for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Then he ain't the man for you. So I was like, bet. Talk about your divorce and like at life after divorce. Let's talk about that, because you ain't got to go in detail about the divorce or anything like that. But life after divorce, how have you kind of been able to bounce back and kind of? Man. Do you think about remarrying?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, let me just caveat this. I think marriage is the most beautiful thing that, if it's done right, is amazing, right? Raising your family and having a unified unit where you can be able, that's where the power is at in all communities, right? We all out here breaking generational curses, trying to, I did 15 years. My parents got divorced at 5. So not a complete success. We didn't go the whole run, but I went further, right?
Yeah.
And just things didn't work out. We grew apart, military type stuff, right? We got married at 19 and all that. So she produced 3 beautiful children for me. So it's all love. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like 3 major things that I think, I can't remember the third, but you have death, divorce, and there's something else like sickness or illness.
Yeah.
These are the things that kind of put you in the dirt a little bit, right? So to speak. And so in those things, you're able to kind of rebirth.
Yeah.
Right. So with that divorce, it allowed me to, one, that's where Rebels in the Garden was able to really germinate and grow. And then as me as a person, I was able to see my errors and things that I was doing wrong and elevate and really just go to a whole new level with stuff. So it was a blessing and a curse, right? Because you kind of see your ugly along with other people's ugly. And
I mean, the only people that can really show you who you are is the opposite sex.
Yep.
I mean, women came from the rib. If we gonna go Bible real quick, you all show us stuff that we can't see, and we show y'all stuff that y'all can't see.
Yeah.
And that can, if you don't have the sense of awareness and willing to take accountability for your actions and stuff like that, it goes like you can bump heads a lot.
Oh yeah, because definitely it takes accountability and awareness. Because even when you get with somebody else, right, you don't want to repeat the same mistake. So if somebody's like, "Yo, you boo boo boo," right? You're like, she said that too. So that obviously means there's something wrong with me. So I need to fix that. Right. But if I refuse to, right, and understand, then you're gonna repeat the same stuff over and over again. Same thing with garden principles. If I'm not out there. If I do these basic stuff, but I'm not weeding the garden and stuff, why I ain't getting no crops? Why is things choking out? Because you ain't doing nothing different. You're doing the same stuff. So, yeah, it's eye opening. Like I said, going through co-parent, divorce, all that stuff. I don't wish that on nobody. Going back to with my boys now, things have changed. I think marriage is very risky for men. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, elaborate, explain.
Yeah, it's a I mean, we all get married with love, right?
Yeah.
And that's the intent. And like I said, I'm gonna go back. It's the most beautiful thing if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna make sure I say that. Um, I don't believe in, especially in the young age, I don't believe no man should just be letting women on the hook for 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? In their childbearing years, right? I
Yeah.
don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So make an honest woman out of her, marry her, do the right thing. So I just want to make sure we're clear on all of that. Okay.
Definitely.
However, okay, for boys, men that actually have things, marriage is the most riskiest thing that can bring you down if you choose the wrong woman.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
Now, women are either an amplifier or an anchor. Okay. So it's very important to discern what type of woman that you're getting. So if you have a vision, which is important. So if
Yeah.
boys are out here just chasing girls
Yeah.
without a vision,
Yeah.
that's something for females, women to actually look at and say, all right, this man has no vision. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
even recommend getting with a man with no vision.
Right.
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 But if you have vision and you're providing that for a woman, it's very risky because you can lose it off. She's not amplifying what you're doing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right.
Because I feel like I agree in aspects. Because I feel like a lot of women now don't feel like they need to bring anything to the table.
Yeah.
That the man is supposed to provide and do all these things for them. No, you need to bring stuff to the table. Whatever he brings, you're supposed to be able to multiply that times 10. All right.
It's supposed to work in harmony. However
Right.
however relationships are going, that's another part. We're all navigating
Yeah,
new
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? So, we could say one thing, somebody's like, "Oh, what about it?"
Yeah.
Whatever. However that relationship functions, it's a yin and yang always, right? And it reverses itself. So like Chris Rock had that, that stand-up tambourine because he was going through his divorce.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it gives you a lot of enlightenment when you go through that. And he was like, yo, sometimes you on tambourine. He's like, and play it well. And that could be a dude on tambourine when
Right.
old girl's doing her podcast and doing all these different
yeah,
things. Yo, be the
yeah.
tambourine in the back.
Yeah.
I got you, babe. I got X, Y, and Z. Whoop de whoop de whoop. Right? So a man is your amplifier as well because you're partners. Right? I'm speaking on my boys in manhood, right? Because
Right.
we're the ones that traditionally are supposed to be bringing that vision, right? Hey, this is my plan.
Yeah.
Whoop de
You
whoop
gotta
de
have a
whoop.
plan.
And then
Definitely.
she's like, cool, how we make it together, right? But if it goes wrong, right, that is when the man is at the most risk because
Yeah.
I was done, right? So,
Yeah.
all my chips in the game for the
Yeah.
most, I had to rebuild.
Definitely. I think when men haven't achieved like their level of success, it can definitely disrupt. At least that's
Yeah.
my personal marriage story. I
Right.
mean, I was with him like from the beginning, and it interfered with a lot of the decisions, a lot of finances, everything like that. So I do encourage a lot of men to kind of figure it out. And if you are going to get married before you figure it out, then again, you got to be able to trust your partner enough to have that balancing act.
Yeah, no, I think, it's very important, man. And that's why it's hard for young folks. I mean, even love and do all that stuff, that's great. But I think men need to kind of have a goal, a vision, a way to go right before they actually choose a woman, right? So when we're younger, so when I went in the military, right, I thought that was the idea of my completion, right?
Yeah.
So I got a job now, complete, right? I got some stability, complete. Now I need to get a house, complete, a wife. My life is good and I'm just going to ride this thing out. So
Yeah.
that was the idea that I had in my head that you were successful, right? And that fell apart, whatever. But now looking at how things have changed, I think it's very important. Like men should not probably get married until they're probably 26, 27, 28, right? Because now you kind of know who you are. You have a vision. Now you can bring a woman onto your team and say, hey, this is what I plan on doing.
Definitely.
Would you like to roll with me?
Yeah.
And she says, yeah, I got you. Right. But when we're doing it with just lust and just young stuff and all that stuff, and that's great. That's carried a lot of folks. But in today's day and age, I think men need to step up and actually take on those roles and then take on people into their kingdom, right? And show them, hey, this is where we're moving. Based on my failures and I've been with my girl right now for 6 years now, and she's divorced as well. We're kind of working at, we're a blended family, but we're working out all of our issues. She's this, that way. I'm like, yo, this is not cool. She's like, da da da, this is not cool. So we working all that stuff together. And these are all the philosophies and principles and wisdom I've gained from
Yeah.
those two.
See, if he wasn't married before, I would have been like 6 years.
But we're done. But here's the thing: is that what I see is, we're done with having kids.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're going into a whole. Yeah. Eventually, we're going to get married and do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no rush.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
I feel like if you didn't have the marriage experience, I'd be looking at you like, what?
Yeah. Nah.
6 years? No. I feel like me personally, if you haven't been married before, okay, and you're looking to get serious with somebody and go to that next step, being engaged in marriage, you should not be dating or with your woman no longer than a year.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it should take no longer than a year for you as a man to know. Because every man that I know who gotten married, they're like, no, I just knew.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know?
But don't get it, like, that's the thing. I think we get it mixed up with, like, I'm saying getting the state involved, right? So marriage is a contract, right? So then we go back to, then we talk to sovereignty at the same time. You mean I got to go and ask permission? A license. Think about that.
Yeah.
What the? I gotta get permission. I'm a grown whole ass adult. I'm a little dude in this little couch.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? However, I'm a grown man.
Yes.
Grown little man.
Yes.
Asking permission to get married.
Yeah.
It don't make sense. But now commitment is different, right?
Yeah.
I'm committed to you, especially as a man.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I'm not messing with nobody. Ain't nobody in my DMs. I'm not doing none of that jazz. I'm out here working. We trying to build life together. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, I get it. If we want to make it official and all that stuff, and I'm working that out with my girl right now because, you know, we have this conversation on the regular. But I'm just saying, I'm working out. I'm
trying to help you, girl.
Yeah. And I know I'm wrong to a degree, but like I said, this is the process, right? We coaching, right? And like the same thing is we working through. I still have said I haven't paid off my old ex-wife yet. I ain't paid her off yet. I'm not done paying that off yet. So.
I got you. I feel you. No, I mean, of course my views is different because, my background and everything like that. But I just feel like regardless, if you're committed, like you said, if you're committed to somebody, be committed to them. Whether you decide to go to the justice of the peace or whatever the case may be committed to that person. But I feel like in order for you to commit, it shouldn't take no longer than a year. Just because you done seen that person in all 4 seasons, seen them around different people, hopefully seen them around your family, got to meet her family or whatever, the vice versa. And so, you got to see people through all 4 seasons, the ups and downs. And I think a year helps that for sure.
I think it's hard to put a date on it, right? Like, because I think that's also puts people under pressure, especially men, right? Yeah, we do take a little bit of time, but if your woman keeps sweating you, right?
Oh,
then
no, don't do that with me.
Yeah, don't, but they feel that sweat, that heat, and you're like, yo. And then that's when you get it, the man goes into something that he ain't really quite ready for, right? Like, you may want it.
Yeah.
Be like, I appreciate you, sis.
Yeah.
But he may not want it. But I would say this, that it's up to you to cut that off.
Yeah.
Right? So you still have a choice without, like, pressuring a man to marry you.
I was just about to say that.
Right?
That goes for men and women. Like, the woman might be ready or the man might be ready.
Yeah.
You got to decide, are you ready? Can you really bring everything to that you need to bring to a marriage? It's just not that day where you got your family or whoever around, okay? It's way more sickness and health.
Yeah. Yeah.
To death do you part, okay?
You're
It is a whole thing out here.
If you do it right. And like I said, we're dropping like flies out here, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's choose wisely is what I'm saying. Men and females, or women, I should say, excuse me. Yeah, just choose wisely.
Yeah.
Just choose wisely. And if you choose wrong, it's probably you too. Take accountability of you. You chose first, right?
Definitely.
You said you.
You said yes.
You bring it in. So you chose whatever package you got. And then also, you take accountability of the things that corrupted that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right. And that way you can move on and just, repent for whatever happened.
Yeah, definitely. And women take accountability because we suffer in that area a lot. So take accountability when you know you're wrong. Admit when you're wrong. And
men take leadership.
Period.
Take leadership. And like I said, leadership can be shared. Like there's times where, obviously I'm not saying not the whole patriarchy. I'm not trying to be like, take charge of your woman. I'm saying take with vision, leadership, saying, yo, being discerned, definitive in your
I mean, but
words.
that's key. That's Bible.
Yeah,
I mean, you
I
are
agree,
supposed to
but
be
this
a
is what we're
leader.
debating. It's just, everything is up for debate these days, right?
Everything is up for debate. Just
Yeah.
because everybody got their different views. But like I said, if you're committed to somebody, if you're in a marriage with someone, it's up to y'all to decide what that marriage is gonna be. Again, if it fails,
Take accountability
take that
and own it
accountability.
and own it.
Own it.
And if it's successful, own it.
Yeah.
If it goes,
Definitely.
like, your parents been together, what, 45 years? What'd you say?
They are 39.
39
going
years.
on 40.
Right. So there's horrible years in there.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Right.
Early years, yes.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
them.
But they also success, right? So like, oh, we've been
That,
married, and they
right.
ask, well, and they'll tell you all the things that they done to be successful. But it's very rare that people will tell you all the things that they did to make it fail.
Period.
Right.
And I appreciate my parents for that because they didn't sugarcoat nothing with us. When they was going through their stuff, they go through their stuff. They still bicker and stuff. I'll be like, oh, look at them in love. You know, because I mean, marriage is not going. Doesn't mean like y'all ain't gonna argue and fight. And I think some men think that way too. Like it shouldn't be this hard.
No, it is.
It's
hard.
too much work. Everything in life takes work.
Yeah.
You just being lazy.
Facts. And that's the same thing with business, right? This is business is a relationship.
Period.
Right? Because I'm not selling to computers. I'm selling to another human being, even though it's via a computer.
Right.
I'm selling to a human being. They have to interact emotionally, whatever else, to whatever product I'm selling.
Right.
And at some points, it gets hard where, you get I just dropped, I opened, everybody loves you at first.
Yeah.
And then they get used to, just like any other relationship. I get with somebody and it's all love, the dopamine hits for a couple months. Then the hard work starts. Where I have to pay attention to you. I have to do this, I have to do that. All that. Same thing with business.
Yeah.
It's all love at first, but now I got my marketing. I got, where's my money at? What do? So it's all relationship.
Right. Definitely all relationship. Because coaching doesn't work without relationship. That's why I have to sit down with any potential clients and really get to know them. Like it's basically a conversation like we're having now. Most of the sessions, and it's just like, all right. So I remember during our conversation, these things came up.
Right.
Have you realized that? And then they'd be like, oh. No, I didn't know that. I be like, see? So people don't understand. Yeah, relationship is key. Through my just journey of entrepreneurship or getting into it, I used to support everybody, and I still do. Like I'll share, I'll show up.
Yeah.
I'll buy the merch, everything like that. I don't need no free ticket.
You got the merch right now.
Yeah, I'm going to support, but I barely get that same reciprocation.
Yeah, it's just recognizing all those things, because again, we're just interacting as human beings. We're all flawed.
Definitely.
And we're all just in our own little bubbles. You know what I'm saying? Just bumping into each other, being, so, but yeah, it's hard.
I don't think a lot of people touch on this, but after divorce, they don't really, like you compared it to death and having an illness and everything like that. How did you grieve, Mr. Grevious? How did you grieve that divorce? Because grieving is a part of divorce, just like it is a part of death or anything else.
It took a while, man. I think it was weird because, like I said, as a man, I wanted to keep my kids, right? So I have to, when you go to court, you have to show, at least that was my perspective, right? Because I was like, I'm not going to play games with this.
Right.
I needed to show that I can, be functionable, like a house, have room for them, finances, the whole nine. So I didn't really get a whole lot of chance to grieve. So I remember when it, it like kicked off, I was jacked up for, say, about 3 days. And I was going to work, and I remember calling in to my sergeant, and I was like, man, I just can't come in today. So I gave myself a day. You grieve throughout the process, right? But a day, like I just sat in my hotel, and I just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But then it clicked. I was like, all right, enough. I was like, you got kids, you got responsibilities, you got shit to do. So I was like, all right, let's get back in the game. So put the helmet on, got back in the game. I got a house rented. I got furniture. I got all of this stuff. I just started getting my shit together. So because the goal was to make sure that my kids didn't see the transition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Didn't see dad down and out. I come from a divorced household, and it was ugly.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to make it as seamless as possible and shelter the kids from the chaos as much as possible. So my goal was to, I don't know if I was successful or not in it, but to make sure that she was okay for as much as possible, mainly for the sake of my kids. I didn't want my kids to see their mom suffering.
Right.
If I had anything to do without the complete detriment to myself.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like everybody, like we talking about Father's Day, everybody's
Yeah.
okay with dad limping around, dad walking with wounds.
Yeah.
Like that's what's supposed the kids to see that, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, dad can handle it, dad's strong. But when they see their mom limping, it does something psychologically. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
mom's
yeah.
not okay.
Yeah.
So my intent behind a lot of what I did was to make sure that that area was okay from my control.
And I'm pretty sure that you were able to handle the situation that way just because you experienced your parents' divorce and you was like, I don't want my kids to feel the same way
that
I
was the
felt
intent. That was the intent. Now, again, was I successful in a lot of this stuff? I don't know. Time will tell. You know, when we're at Thanksgiving dinner in 2040, and my daughter's like, Dad, you really messed me up as a kid because this is what happened. So we had 20 years, we'll do your podcast.
Yeah.
It'll be like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
you said this. How do you
Season
feel
20.
now?
No, but no, I mean, just the effort that you put in, the fact that you wanted your kids, you just didn't like, okay, this marriage is over and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's the responsibilities
Nah.
on the way that you stepped up
Nah.
to take care of it and everything like that. That's commendable. Men.
Yeah, no, I was raised, I had a dad, right? My
Yeah.
dad, me and him did not get along at all,
Yeah.
but he imparted those principles with me. But it was my job to do better than what he did, right? So I didn't want to traumatize my kids and stuff. My dad was a great dude. My dad was amazing, right? And he did a lot. He did a lot of sacrificing for us, right? It's just sometimes we get lost,
Yeah.
right? We do things that we think is correct, but not so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was my job to be, a little bit still aggressive with my kids, but at the same time, like,
Love on them.
yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was just a little bit different, but yeah.
Let's
Yeah, let's get that
We're gonna
out
talk
there
about
real quick.
sovereignty.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's jump into it. I'll let you lead this conversation.
Yeah, nah.
We're gonna talk about sovereignty, y'all.
I want to, so I would say sovereignty is the revolutionary mind that I don't necessarily share, right? Because it scares folks. So I grew up, but there's revolutionary suicide, by Huey P. Newton, Malcolm X, all those different things of just basically just sovereignty, protection of neighborhoods, those sorts of things. Even the Communist Manifesto. I'm not a communist no more, but I ran a union, did all those things. So I'm very pro worker.
Yeah.
Right, pro community on a lot of things. Pro like underdog, if you say. You know what I'm saying? So
I root for the underdogs all the time.
when we say sovereignty, right, we have those words that, especially in the food space, everybody, we can be food sovereign. We ain't food sovereign at all. We keep saying that shit, but we ain't.
Yeah.
Right? So especially in our communities, in the black communities or whatever, ain't nobody growing food in there like that at scale.
Yeah.
Feeding us. Right? Hispanic population, they got grocery stores, but still they're not fully sovereign, if you will. But they have a country that they can identify with. I've seen it right now.
Yeah.
That they can import food in to stock their grocery stores. That's sovereignty within a community.
Yeah.
To as close as you can possibly get. Right? Without government coming in and doing all that jazz. So just in sovereignty as far as your neighborhoods go, just think about this. I told you we got 40,000 people in Aurora. Okay, 40,000. Okay, your farming population in America, for the most part, you're only about 1% to 2%, something like that, are actually farmers, right? So if you take that same map and you put it on the community, so 40,000, 1%, what is that? 400? What is that? Is my mathing?
I think your
is it
math
40?
is mathing.
That's 1% of 40,000. That's 400.
1%? Yeah, 400. 1% of 40,000?
Yeah. Oh, that's 40. That's 400? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. You can keep that in there. You can keep. Education is important.
Right.
Yeah, we all on the computers.
Do
and
your
stuff.
math homework,
Yeah,
y'all.
look at y'all. Or you going to be a farmer like me. Nah, so check it out. But I mean, you have 400 people growing for a community. Right? And so if you take those models, you got 400 people. You know how abundant vegetables would be? Yeah. Like you would have to just give them away because, nobody's going to. So to me, that point is if we just get 400 people growing in the backyards at the scale that I'm at, right? Make a little change, whatever. That whole neighborhood now has a productive capacity to feed itself if it absolutely needed to. The infrastructure has been laid, right? We have gardens all across the state, but everybody, it's, these little onesies and twosies, people take pictures by it and all that other stuff, right? But to intentionally grow for a neighborhood creates sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
Having your own means of production, having distribution channels with things that you own via grocery stores, farmers markets, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever business infrastructure that you can
Yeah.
have. That is sovereignty,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where that money stays. We keep talking about it in the black, circulating, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
The
Where the
Jewish
money
community does
stays.
it flawlessly. Flawlessly. So when I'm saying until we apply, say, that Jewish principle of
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we only have to deal with like black folks or
Yeah.
Hispanics or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
but who lives in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
right? If you can, I can go to a baker that lives in my neighborhood. I got a butcher in there. I got a farmer. I got a clothes person. You know,
Right.
all these different things to where that community can grow
Yeah.
and
Getting
be
back to the
sovereign.
principles. 'Cause
Yeah,
everybody had is it a trade? I don't know if that's the right word,
yeah,
but everybody had a trade or something that they could do back in the day. Carpentry,
yeah,
like you said, making clothes, butter, milk, all that
yeah,
type
yeah,
stuff. Everybody had that. I don't. I don't have. So, I
yeah.
don't have those things. Those
Nah,
things. And I remember during COVID, I was looking at stuff like that. I was reaching out to people who did like woodwork, and
yep,
I wanted to learn
yeah,
because I was like, if something like this happens again, or if, like like you said, if we completely like no
yeah,
everything stops today,
yep.
how we gonna eat, y'all? How we
The basic
who
principles.
hunting?
Yeah, basic principles. Who knows how to build anything?
Right.
Right? House shelters. Like this house, I'll tell you what, the grid goes down. This house is unlivable. So I used to do HVAC also.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These houses are built with AC in mind. Summertime, you living down here because that house upstairs is going to be unlivable.
Yeah.
Right? So we're so removed from reality, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So to go all the way back to sovereignty, this is almost like it's very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need to be able to, and I call it peacetime. Right?
Yeah.
You military, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? In peacetime, it's cool. We grow gardens, we share, we do all these things. But when things get real, can we collapse those things down, grow intentionally, and actually have channels where people can actually access food?
Right.
Right? We don't have a real infrastructure like that. Most of the food in these farmers markets are coming from the Western Slope, right? Down in Pueblo and out east,
Yeah.
right? So that stuff is getting trucked in. You know what I'm saying? So the average farmland, for example, is 445 acres, give or take, right? For one piece of farmland rurally. We don't even have enough grow space in the city
Yeah.
for 445
Yeah.
acres.
Yeah.
And that's only to make up one farm,
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
right?
That's
So
crazy.
it's we got a lot of work to do, and we keep saying sovereignty. We don't have sovereignty because we're not producing farmers.
So how do you think we need to? What's like some of the first steps that we need to start doing to get there?
Getting back to our roots, man. Understand that this stuff is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like living in this luxury. You've traveled. You've been in the
Yeah.
military. I've seen
A lot.
poverty.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, right? And when you come back home, you're like, yo, this stuff is not real. We could
Right.
like that.
Right.
We could be back down to
Right.
whatever. So it's very important to, kind of get back to roots, growing food. I don't care if you're growing just in your backyard. We talking about just a little bed, just so you get in touch.
Right.
And if that gene is in you, you're gonna get bit,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna end up growing in your backyard like me, right? So we just need people to start remembering and reactivating, the genetics basically,
Yeah.
and kind of getting back to what our grandparents did.
Definitely. Definitely. So before we close out,
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about Rebels in the Garden and where you see it going in the future and how people can support you.
Yeah, no. So this is the part of the sovereignty project, right? So so Rebels in the Garden is our urban farm, right? Rebel Marketplace is our distribution arm, our community gathering place, if you will. And then also have a nonprofit, which you were in that space, Urban Symbiosis, which kind of acts as our financing USDA kind of arm where we can build more farms out. So that's kind of the project that we're building. But if anything, Rebel Marketplace, please just come out, support the businesses. The sister's going to be out here. Just engage with the community and see what these small businesses are trying to achieve, which is sovereignty within their lives, right?
I mean, because if you probably add up all the vendors and stuff that are actually out there that are making their own stuff, planting their own food and everything like that, we can make this happen.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's just people don't be wanting to
They come through. They
Collaborating
come
can be.
through. But you Yeah, I hear that a lot. But everybody, you can't collaborate with everybody.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying?
We're learning that a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. And I know. I mean, I have these things as well. But yeah, it's yeah, you have to discern.
I appreciate you for
Nah,
coming on.
this was
Thank
great.
you. It was great.
It was
You
great.
did good.
Yeah.
And thank y'all for watching another episode of Bear Fruit Podcast. Make sure y'all check out Rebels Market if you're in the Denver, Colorado area. Aurora, shout out to y'all. All right. And just peace and love. Catch you next time.